politics, yo. douglAR politics. Listen, douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yo. douglAR politics.
Yeah, boy, Victor. I ain't do the show so long now, so I go in and read. Yeah, because I out of practice. Good evening and welcome to douglAR politics. My name is, but like I forget how to do this show, boy. I get on like Richie Sukai. Archie, it's a Richie Sukai. Remind the people about Sukai. What's wrong with me, boy?
Of local government, the Honorable Mr. Faris Al-Rawi, stated that the population of municipal police should, Mr. President, clauses 4 and 11 of the amendment reference the legitimize the introduction of new firearm.
But it's so long I do the douglAR politics and nearly feel I was like Richie Sukai, boy, the PNM star, boy. All you could ever feel so. Look, all you take that paper, boy. I don't need no paper. Good evening. Welcome to douglAR politics. Fatima, oh Lord, my youth men. Well done. You bring pride. I feel good. I burn all that diesel to reach down in south. Naparima play a good game. Well done, Naparima. Travis Mulrain, Anthony Sherwood, all you make, all your side, lift the level, the intensity, the pressure, all you put we off, we game in the first half. We didn't know what was going on in the Southland. We thought all you come to take with 3 points. But Fatima, well done. Hudson Charles, Sutton, coaching staff, the team themselves, the substitutes, everybody for getting in there. Koraya, settling down. My boy with the sweetest header I have seen in college league football for a very long time. A beautiful cross by Aiden DeGans, beating him man on the line to come to bring victory. Understand, Fatima was down for about 82 minutes. We scored 2 in the last 5 minutes of 8 minutes of added on time to win the National League title for the first time since 1978. And remember, Scott Rodriguez and myself, with Sean Ramdu, our captain, the team of 1987, we lost that national title on goal difference to Dwight York and Colvin Hutchinson of Signal Hill because we were too overconfident against Kona Hislop and Barry Roach and Gavin Moores from St. Mary's, who we had beaten twice. So to the young fellas, to all you, to my brother who scored that header was just so sweet, and to my midfielders, to Bailey, to my Bison, you get throw off, Williams, you get sent off red card, it wasn't deserving that second yellow card, I agree, but to the Fatima boys from all the squad, thank you, well done. Archie, you know you must show me a little video of Fatima, National League champions of secondary school football. Well done, my brothers.
There is one of the, actually that is the striking duo, Anil Roberts and next to him is Scott Rodriguez. They were the actual striking partnership of that winning team in 1987 of the North Zone. Well. It was all Naparima as they started, and a couple of early shots that went wide, and then Cooper in the 7th minute with a header, brilliant header, and put it into the back of the net. Good corner, and certainly a very good header, and all of a sudden Naparima, they were leading 1-0. Then a short corner, the ball played towards Shaves coming in, having the shot, took a deflection and into the back of the net in added on time. All of a sudden it was 1-1. Deflection beat the keeper and Shaves will claim the goal. Took a bit of a deflection, but then the moment DeGans going up the right side, sent it, and Trestrail, what a header! He did everything right, got up above the defender and he netted it into the back of net, and there is Anil Roberts. He's part of the highlight show and all. Here is the final whistle. Fatima College are the 2023 secondary schools champions. What a victory in the end.
Fellas, Trail, what a header. The Gans, what a perfect cross. Fatima, thank you. Naparima, hard luck. Southmen, all my boys standing up there. Brian Williams, Emmanuel, all your South boys, Sherwood, hard luck. The Northmen come down. We could watch Northmen on Netflix now and all. We come and plant a flag right in Naparima center circle. Watch Archie and all Robin here, they don't know what to say. Now, Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez, I saw something. I only dealing with it because you're going down in my lane. Sport, I love it. You're talking to your people and not getting in your politics. But Prime Minister Ralph Gonzalez, you had a press conference to discuss the benefits of hosting Cricket World Cup and upgrading your stadium and so on. But play the video first. But Prime Minister, I want to save you because you're I don't know if we're only rubbing off on all you. So I'm trying to prevent you from going down the Lake Oto Road, right? Run, Ralph Gonzalez.
I've heard backward elements say, well, we have to make sure. You say you're going to spend $30-something million. You got to make sure that the people who get the work, they're local contractors. Well, now, the main items is really the lights, which is over $5 million US, and the electronic scoreboard. And the rest is really small contractors which have to do the work. The $54 million which we spent to upgrade Arnesfield was done entirely by small contractors from St. Vincent and Grenadines. You think any big contractor going to come from anywhere to do little piddling work like that? The cost of mobilization. But they talk these things because it's the first kind of rubbish that come to the backward people head. And the young people have to make sure that their own people are educated as to what is really taking place and what you would like to see further improved, and you advocate and you involve yourself and get things done. Let me repeat why we are spending $30-something million on bringing that facility up to what is required by Cricket West Indies and the ICC. International Cricket Council. The first reason is not what they ask. They say you must do they want to see what is how this affects business. You spend a lot of money, so you have to get a return. Well, you know, there are some people who know the price of everything and the value of nothing. The principal reasons not related to recouping that money through some economic activity, well, it'd be good you make some money. But the principal reason is to develop young people who want to play the sport of cricket. That's the first principal reason. The second is to make sure that there is a facility where young people can see international players come on an ongoing basis to encourage them further to participate in cricket, so that we'll have more West Indies test players and under 19 test West Indies players and the like. When somebody tell you, well, you must show you're going to make money. If you haven't We have in two games, quarterfinals, and 2 group matches. Tell me something, Heavenly Father. You're spending $30-something million. Crystal, they're going to make back the money paying 4 games. So, the very idea of trying to do an economic cost-benefit analysis is just an absurdity. The value of it is beyond.
Well, Honorable Prime Minister, first and foremost, if that's your rationale, you should stop talking so arrogantly because you did not make sense. The first reason for hosting and spending $37 million US to upgrade your cricket ground, the first reason that could give your country benefit and value is the 4 matches you have, the 2 quarterfinal and the 2 group stage matches that the world will be watching. Between 600 million people and 1.2 billion people will be watching that game globally for 3 hours. So you have 12 hours of time that St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the climate, the people, the vibe, the music, the culture. You could throw in some ads from your St. Vincent and the Grenadines tourism authority to show that people who are watching, when they think now, you put it on the mind share, they come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. New markets, I don't know which teams you have playing, but let me say you have Sri Lanka playing Pakistan and so on. This could be new markets for tourism for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. That's the first economic benefit. Not to say that you go in and create no lights and no scoreboard in a stadium going to create West Indies cricketers, Honorable Prime Minister. If that is your rationale, you waste your money. No amount of sit down there and youth men watch a game, that's not going to turn them into world-class cricketers. That is coaching, that is primary school level, that is education, coach certification, scientific analysis, PE teachers, physical preparation, psychological development. So, Honorable Prime Minister, yes, you can make the money back from 4 games with selling 10,000 tickets, but the value is in the marketing. So, if you're going to be arrogant and you're going to talk down to people, at least talk sense, now, Honorable Prime Minister, okay? You remind me of Rowley, so I had to deal with you. Stop that, don't do that. You don't want to look like Rowley at all, okay? Ministry of Health has moved. Yes, man. The Ministry of Health moved into a pretty PNM building for $162 million. But when you go by Mount Hope, if you get past the car park without getting robbed and raped, if you park your car and you go in the waiting room and wait, and you come back and you still have tires, if you go in Mount Hope or in any of them hospital and you get Panadol and you get medication and you could get a bed without waiting 5 hours with roasting fever, getting infected from other people without water to wash your hand and go in the toilet to flush. But you could go by the administration building with this clown, this dunce who could not even pass a pharmacological exam to be a pharmacist. He's a druggist, and he criticizing Tim Gopi Singh, talking about Tim resume, and Tim have all kind of thing. Yes, Tim have all kind of thing because he bright. You dunce convent girl. Tiantec, minister man from one dunce to the next. Imagine Tiantec coming to raise your rates, and a concrete post from Tiantec fall down and nearly kill a woman in she SUV. The poor lady, luckily, she mashed brakes early. If it was somebody who was going right up to the line, them dead because of the mismanagement of this clown. And Rowley put he in charge of WASA and Tiantec because he knew nothing about it. That's what Rowley boasts. And so said, so done. Total mismanagement, total collapse. But you had to pay higher Tiantec right. Now the plane, Tiantec is going to meet with the minister man. Where are they going to meet? In the bathroom? Where your wife find him? What he was doing in the bathroom? Or they're going to meet he to discuss what? The PNM already said, directed the RIC that followed the PNM policy to increase rates. Mama guy people with consultation. Throughout the consultation, not one person say increase rate. But now the PNM is pretending that is the RIC do it by themselves. And TNTech now pretending that the RIC can implement. And they have to discuss with it. A set of mama gizam and all, let us fall fit from dunces. When dunces could outsmart you, we have to check ourselves. Leave it there, no. I ain't done with it. Chief Secretary on proposed electricity hike. A hard pill for Tobago to swallow, because Tobago had to swallow every pill. Tobago's inflation above that of Trinidad. Trinidad food price inflation since 2015 to now 49.5%. Pharmaceutical inflation since 2015 to now over 75%. Inflation in hardware materials in Trinidad since 2015 Kamla to PNM Rowley 8 years 62%. In Tobago, take those numbers plus 30%, plus the collapse of the sea bridge, plus stupidity of the PNM, and now on top of all that sufferation Tobago get, them PNM coming to raise electricity on top of them too. But the people at Tobago got rid of PNM because Tobago don't make joke. Tobago does vote with their brain. Tobago not on no emotional race thing about Indian and African. Tobagonian realize that the PNM is deleterious to the benefits and the moving forward of Tobago, and they get rid of PNM. Trinidad, try to learn from Tobago now. Prime Minister Keith Rowley says TNTech will be asked to put real cost of electricity bills. Now imagine you all elected this fella called Keith Rowley. Even though in 1969 he was a teacher and used his position of power and control over students to get pum-pum from a girl of school age, impregnate her and ignore the child for 44 years. You all elected that man, even though he was a minister, and when they building a hospital for sick children, pregnant mothers, women, old people, that material rolled from the hospital to somewhere by he. All you elect that man, even though he was the Minister of Integrated Planning and Development, and when John Rahal's son, his friend, joined Woodgill, he give them outline approval to go up in the sky in Shorelands, Renaissance, and increase their asset base from 8 million or 10 million TT to 850 million. The man was at HDC with the same Noel Garcia. Las Alturas collapsed, $1.8 billion in projects without tongue and country approval, without planning permission, breaking the law. Greenvale, buy Rahal land, floodplain, no approval. Agricultural land, no approval. Build house, and people nearly drowned the other day because of flooding. And all you elect that man called Rowley, a pathological liar who brought things concocted on a piece of paper and call a special session of parliament to say no confidence in Kamla Prasad Bisesa and lie down the place with email gate. And after that, you all elect that miscreant, that fella who is now 70-something. Look, he had a birthday, and none of the senators in the Senate debating the budget tell him happy birthday. Because only the ones who have to go down the steps, pass the tree dog, pass the parrot, open the dungeon office and lie down on the red couch really like Rowley. That is how you get work from Rowley. You all elect that to be Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, to go Canada and have a press conference in a tracksuit that look like it now come out a garbage can. And you all elect that, and he come to tell you that he is going to tell TNTech to put the real cost of electricity on your bill. You are a citizen of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Every bit of oil and gas in the ground belongs to each and every one of you. Whether you're a garbage man, a CPEP worker, a laborer in the daily pay in the corporation, you're a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, a businesswoman, an interior decorator, whatever you are, a bit of that oil and gas belong to you. But all you elect a fool. And he said that he oil and gas, and he going to tell all you that he raised your TNTech bill and how much you should pay for it, and compare it to other countries in the CARICOM who have no oil, they have no gas. Them operating number one industry, tourism. And the PNM compares us, 1.43 million of us, who have reserves of oil and gas since 1908, who had a refinery before PNM shut it down because a man was creating and said, boy, he was working magic like Houdini. He increased the productivity of his land oil fields by 1,000%. And that happened to be Rowley friend. And he make $100 million just so. And then Rowley controls it and puts his lawyer there and does not appeal the arbitration. And the man who had the magic oil come out of the ground, when he should be magically put somewhere near Golden Grove, he end up getting another contract, get $118 million of your dollars, Rowley friend, and a 10-year contract to go and drill more oil worth $900 million. Great is the PNM. Them will rob you a whole day and tell you pay for it. And all you still want to dip your finger for Rowley and them, he coming to tell you that your TNTech bill must be high because that oil and gas don't belong to you. Well, let me tell you something. Kamala Prasad Bisesa said that is all your oil and gas. That is why she left the fuel subsidy day. Now all you're paying more for super in 2015 if you're filling a SUV, if you have a CRV and you're filling it with super. Back in 2015, you could have filled that for $250. Right now you're filling for $400 or $500. Premium, same thing. Diesel, same thing. Fisherman don't even have regular fuel right now because all you elect the biggest liar, the biggest done. The man can't tell the truth to his wife. Imagine a man reach 74 and still horning without prophylactic, and all you find he is something to look up to. Great is it. Watch this clown. Watch this total clown. To be a prime minister should be the best of the best, the brightest of the bright, the best character, the must carry himself or herself with class. That even on the golf course, man know him, they catch him kicking a ball in your own tournament, a charity golf tournament. I dare you to tell me no, Rowley, tell me a lie, sue me. On the 15th hole in the Prime Minister's charity golf tournament in Mount Irving, you kick your ball. And I call in the 4 special branch men who see you too. So let me go in court now. Rowley, I just be begging you for a pre-action protocol. What I'm telling you, you're sending to all kind of other people. Send me pre-action protocol. Let me go. I'm not going with no Larry Lala to go and say, oh, it was an honor to question you. When I questioning you, it's bush lawyer by senior counsel by other lawyer boy. I'm going to ask you all kind of thing about Gata Lane, about how old the girl was, about how she groomed she, how long you take the lyrics at a girl of school age in order to get pum pum. Was it first time just so? Because I that man a wrong tongue. I know girls, innocent girls who have good brought up see and thing, they don't just do that just so. I want to ask you about that. Come straight forward into Scarborough Hospital, into Landit, into Sheep Farm, Goat Farm, Warner Construction, Inez Gate, Renaissance, Email Gate, Delcy Gate, Nelson Gate. I want to ask you about Gadsby Dolly. I want to ask you about Donna Cox. I want to put you there and ask you about the girl who was the Newsday editor. I want to ask you about all of that. I want to ask you about Darrell Smith's wife. Send me a letter now, boy. Let me do it now. And guaranteed, me ain't taking no Larry Lala as no lawyer. Oh, it was a great honor to question the Prime Minister. Larry, give me a flipping chance now, boy. Point Lisa's desal plant resumes operation ahead of time. Put back the minister, man, let me tell you something. Rowley and the PNM try to attack desal cut. Try to attack the UNC and blame the desal cut and desalinated water for the woes of WASA, when the woes of WASA come directly from the mismanagement of the PNM, from the wastage. Do you know since 2017, for 6 years, every month, 4.2 billion gallons of potable water, when WASA tries to pump it out to you across the country, it's wasted. It goes underground, under the roads, eating away the foundation. That's why all you have so much sinkhole and road collapsing and so on, because of these clowns. They cannot even fix leaky pipe. They cannot even sit down and manage road repair and fixing leaky pipes, like how Kamala did it with the Minister of Works and Transport, Jack Warner, and Ganga Singh Public Utilities. She put them to operate, and Ganga Singh will say, we go in here to fix pipe first. Jack, when we finish and we make sure and we test pipe good, you come and pave. Now these clowns, the PNM, Rohan pave a road, this one dig it up next morning. That is PNM. Stupidity abounds. But they try to attack desalcot. He and Rowley come and lie and say desalcot getting 181 US per cubic meter. Lie, $1. They come and say that is the cost of desalcot going into the grid from UNC to the residential grid. That's why WASA is about to collapse financially. Not true. Desalcot and desalinated water on the UNC in 1999 was for the energy sector. And the desalcot per every cubic meter, where WASA makes $5 profit. But the PNM collapsed the energy sector through Rowley and Smallpin's negotiation in Houston. 11 companies shut down in Point Lisa. The demand for water, the steel plant, ArcelorMittal closed down. The refinery closed down. The demand for energy sector water has been dampened by the PNM. But there's a take or pay contract. So you have to take the water, so you have to use it. So they have to use it on the grid to help out people. Now it's so bad that the whole country from Chaguanas straight down to Cedros and across to Mayaromans and the land so on should say together in one choir, thank God for desalcot. Because when desalcot go down for maintenance or have algae or electrical problem or a transformer need to be adjusted, something need to be cleaned, the entire area from Chaguanas go down. Over 700,000 customers have no water. And these PNM, remember, they come to attack desalcot because they have a company called 7 Seas that the PNM friendly with. They don't mention that at all. That is the company getting 181 per cubic meter while the desalcot gets $1. That's the company that gets the electricity paid for by TNTech. Desalcot pays its electricity bill every month to the tune of $5 million. So when this PNM come to attack our UNC concept and idea that is helping and saving the country, you must tell them so. And I catch all of them lying. All I forget when I put on suit and take, I went it was Zoom, run it.
Chairman, on the cost, just to flow because you'll be going off desalcot. Just on cost, please, Chairman. Can I ask Mr. Shepherd, what is the cost per cubic meter of water produced by desalcot and purchased by WASA from desalcot? What is it cost per cubic meter?
A figure of $1 per cubic meter. We have US per cubic meter. We have that information. But
that's all I asked, sir. That's all I asked. Thank you. And follow-up question. So it's $1 US per cubic meter, and it's not $1.80 US per cubic meter. So I'm just clarifying that figure. Is there another supplier of desalinated water to WASA in Trinidad and Tobago?
Yes, we have the 7 Seas water treatment plant in Point Fortin, producing 5.6 million gallons of water.
Is that a foreign or local company?
It is a foreign company.
What rate does WASA pay per cubic meter of water to 7 Seas, please, sir?
The last rate we have is $1.39 US per cubic meter. But we
is $1.39 US per cubic meter higher than $1 flat per cubic meter?
I would think so.
And if I were to tell you that I have the rate at 1.65 now per cubic meter from 7 Seas, would that be factual or not so?
Well, I will have to confirm that figure before I say it's factual, sir.
And a final question to the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Public Utilities. Does desalcot pay for their electricity usage per month? And secondly, does 7 Seas, the foreign company, get a rebate from TNTech and pay no money to TNTech for the electricity that they use in their process?
Member, if you would allow me, I prefer to provide that in writing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I guess I'll do a lot of reading in 2 weeks. Thank you, sir.
But that 7 Seas, they got their contract on May 17, 2010, 7 days before the election. 7 Seas got that sweetheart deal, and PNM have it in their craw and want to attack desalcott. The people of Trinidad and Tobago should love desalcott, because without desalcott, you're getting no water. And when them switch off the water and WASA try to pump water to Central and South, you just get to water. So say, don't sell PNM, leave desalcott alone, right? And you see how they come now. PNM is always, they have these tricks, and Guardian media especially, always trying to push a PNM narrative. I had to open my paper and see a whole 2-page spread on Guardian PNM newspaper. Drilling aquifers cheaper than desal investment. So the PNM wants to attack desalcott, wants to bring down desalcott because it's a UNC concept. Just like they kill Caroni because it's UNC supporters, they say, working and building Caroni. They come and they kill Petrotrin because a PNM man tell Rowley, if I go down, you go down, we all go down. And this is the modus operandi. They leave the Couva Children's Hospital with full equipment for children to save their lives, all kind of fancy equipment that them doctors love, computer, MRI imaging, surgery, brain surgery, heart surgery, cardiovascular operating, all kind of things. Jolene John and them put on there. Rowley and them leave that, allow children to dead, and didn't open it until COVID-19 collapse forced them to open it. That is the PNM for y'all. They are sick in their heads. So now the PNM want to attack desalcott and the UNC concept. The lies didn't work because we debunk it here. So now they're trying a different thing now. They're trying to say that drilling aquifers is cheaper than desalination investment. Now who brought up, what is the concept? Where's that argument? Who brought that argument? Just like Coleman, but likes to create an argument out of his little brain and then argue with himself. Like he would say, you know, some people said we should devalue the dollar. Not a man, woman or child, not a UNC, not an economist. Nobody say devalue the dollar, you know. Come and throw that. People say to devalue the dollar. And then he started to argue with himself. If we had devalued the dollar, this would have happened and that would have happened, and therefore PNM is good even though we're failing. That's the argument the PNM uses. So here comes this argument now, that drilling aquifers to increase the supply of water is cheaper than desalinated water. Now, desalinated water came specifically for the energy sector first and foremost. But because of PNM mismanagement and inability to keep the energy sector booming, they had to utilize it. But the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is not water supply. We have plenty water. If I just told you all that every month through leakage, never mind PNM try to lie and say we fixed 2,489 leaks in August. Yeah, you fixed 2,489 leaks, and in August, they had 3,175 new leaks. That's the truth. So all you have fixed nothing. Because in the Joint Select Committee since 2017 and continuing in the Joint Select Committee earlier this year, the people said, and the CEO said, that the WASA, the potable water, when they're distributing it, over 55% of the water is lost through leakage. 4.2 billion gallons of water per month. So is that a supply issue? If you had no leak, you have 4.2 billion gallons of water extra. That could take care of the whole of Somalia per month. So the issue is not supply. The issue is distribution. But here comes Guardian, giving us a whole discussion on a topic that does not exist. That's how the PNM continues to mama guy y'all. We have to switch on my brain and stay focused. Now, watch WASA now. They get catch. Citizens, well done. Actually, all they put up them images. Watch this WASA truck. They put up this WASA truck. Citizens saw this WASA truck. Tilt up, open up, and emptying sewage, raw sewage, people said, into the Diego Martin River. Right? WASA truck. WASA come out, TCR 3159. When WASA come out now and they realize on social media they get catch. Some fella, I thought it was a girl name all the time, some Michelle Plenty or Michael Plenty or something, Plenty, they plenty time, but he talk plenty nonsense. He come and say, no, well, we reprimanding the driver, but it wasn't raw sewage, it was grey water. He said grey water is like water from dishwashing and laundry and thing, and that was grey water, right? That is what the communication specialist of WASA say. But the truck driver, when asked by the residents at the night right here, at the time here, because the citizens went out, catch him and ask him, and well done to your brave citizens who did that. He say, no, this seawater. So he says seawater. The communication specialist next day say grey water. But then the citizens who there say the water was black and smelling stink. Mr. Plenty or Plenty Dotish, how the water smelling so stink if it is laundry water or grey water, as they say? That grey water come from Rowley tracksuit, how it smelling so stink? You see, when they lie, they get catch and they want to reprimand the driver. The driver could not just do that on his own. That driver just decide, hey boy, let me drive my truck, man. Yeah boy, tutu water here. Let me just, hey, look at river there. Let me just crank up this thing and empty it. Just so? No, I don't think drivers have that kind of power and initiative. So WASA, all you're really nasty and really sickening. And that is the PNM. After 2 years, Claxton Bay landslip residents seek comfort from EMBD. Donna Cox, why ain't you went down with your weave and thing and offer them all kind of thing? You went and take picture with your cameraman and you went and say, look at help coming. 2 years past. Hear this. Claxton Bay residents whose homes were damaged 2 years ago by a massive landslip are seeking comfort from the Estate Management Business Corporation that their concerns will be addressed. A resident called Mr. Garcia said, it's 2 years that's going on, and it's a lot of discomfort. After 2 years, Garcia said the residents have not received word from EMBD, which is PNM, on whether they would be relocated or compensated for the damage of their homes. Right now, you could walk across my roof because it is right down on the ground. Don't know why you didn't go with your cameraman and take picture there now. Well, I see our advertisement and I nearly choke. The PNM under MTI, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Agriculture, MIC and so on, in the papers, $12,000 full page color, the advertising, Yachting Marine Apprenticeship Program. But I say about Yachting Marine Apprenticeship Program. The PNM crashed the yachting industry. The numbers of yachts arriving here since 2017, 2018 diminished. We used to have a thriving boat building industry employing 320 workers down in Chagarama's day. The PNM crashed that. They wouldn't give them a contract to build no kind of boat for the Coast Guard or nothing. Them Coast Guard who can't swim. And the PNM now come to say they're going to train youth men, train young ladies to work in the yachting industry, which does not exist. CL Marine collapse and sink under the water. Lida and myself show all of that. They give Chinley, the man who was selling rum by pier one day, and then they make him Minister of National Security in 2003 and tell Fitzgerald Ethelbert Pomsite narcolepsy ride a horse with an 8-year-old boy, Sleepy Hines, Sativa Hines, to be his junior minister. That's how Patrick Manning knew how dotish this one is. He take Chinley and make him Minister of National Security and put his dance below him. He was sitting down crying to Roger Boys and I was right there watching him. But how the boss do me that? You should have wiped your eyes with your locks. Your Pomsite Rasta. Yachting Marine Apprenticeship Program. Kevin Ramnarine, I was just saying that. I pull out this and then look what Kevin Ramnarine, that bright UNC fella, look what he posts up. Point up there. For the yachting industry. He put up the numbers. You have it there? Yeah. And we go see it. Your PNM just come. with nonsense. They want to build an airport terminal in Tobago for 1.2 billion. But the arrivals, international arrivals for tourists in Tobago, gone down from a high of 97,000 in 2014 to 2018, 2019, pre-COVID, 18,000. And during COVID, down to 0. How to kill an industry, Kevin Ramnarine. Not the Trinidad way, the PNM way. As a result of the bureaucracy involved in entering TNT's waters, there's been a decline in yachts arriving in this country. Statistical data from the Yacht Services Association showed in 2018 it was 771. In 2019, 284. And in 2020, from January to March, because you know COVID came after that, April, 188, leave it there, 188 yachts arrived in that period. And that month right. The data also showed in 2021 about US 500,000 was spent compared to other years when yachties would have spent as much as 15 million US. Come back. And Rowley and Imbert just presented a budget that Imbert stood, well, he was standing up. Some of y'all thought the man was sitting down. Right? He was standing up and he read for 4 hours and 7 minutes, talking about now we need to diversify. The PNM met, let me say this was the diversification of our economy in 2015 September. Meaning yacht industry, sports, tourism, agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, non-energy sector. Energy sector was diversified with different elements in Point Lisas. We had a refinery, we were also making bitumen and so on. So the economy had different levels to it, including tourism in Tobago and so on. The PNM shut down and broke down every single thing, including the energy sector, that if you just left it alone, it will do good. And then they come now to tell you, hey, we coming to diversify. The only thing that is diversified in the PNM is the amount of stupidity coming from individuals. It had different level of stupidity within the PNM, all amalgamating into one cabinet of dotishness. Fire truck fiasco. Well, boy, Fitzgerald and Talbot Hines. The man buy Benwood for $1 million, you know. 20 ladder, wooden ladder that they say they can't use because it bend, right? He buy Benwood for $1 million. And where, look at Fitzgerald and Talbot Hines. That is all the Minister of National Security. Now, none of them could have tell him, that not his son, eh? So let me just be clear, that is somebody's child. Somebody couldn't tell him it is inappropriate for a grown man to sit down on a saddle built for one human being and put a child between his legs and the front of the saddle. Or you couldn't tell that man that something wrong with that. And he's so sick and stupid, he didn't know that something wrong with that. Galloping with a little boy in front of him. Well, ask him now, where the Benwood? And then PNM again. I told you about the Couva Hospital left there because it's UNC. The UNC also built a campus for UWI to ensure that there's spread, diversification. The people of the Southland, children don't have to travel all the way up to UWI. They already have too much traffic in that east-west corridor. They could spread out. They could have different degree programs and so on in the UWI South campus. The UNC was also going to build a UWI Tobago campus, so Tobago students don't have to come across to Trinidad to study for their degree and so on. They could stay home with their mother right there eating good food. The PNM has left a $600 million campus just sitting there and rotting. 12 years have passed since the project to build the University of the West Indies campus in Debe was first launched, with a promise to decentralize tertiary education for thousands of students from South Trinidad. A whopping $600 million has been spent to date, but the UWI's Penal Debe campus sits empty, never opened. It was, however, used once as a quarantine site, so COVID, they use it for quarantine. Rudal Munilal said, the current PNM administration has operated with malice and vindictiveness with regard to the UWI Debe campus as the project originated in the UNC's tenure in office. Munilal said last Thursday that he had received no communication from the UE on the opening or use of the Debe campus. He said he had been in touch with former principal Brian Copeland, but had heard nothing in last year. Right? Same thing. This is what the PNM does. The PNM also has, like when they reach Balize House, you see the Balize House that going up, and it slowed down, but I think it started to pick back up, you know. Let me tell you something. Junior Sammy, I saw you dropping material there, concrete and so on. We coming to find out how much PNM paid for that, you know. When the government changed, don't get tied up, you know, because Junior Sammy, you are in receipt of government contracts. Earth movers, you are in receipt of contracts from the PNM. I saw with my own eyes, you dropping materials and things there. We coming to find out about that Balize House. If all you feel, we going and take that in we face, all you had to be mad. Who else? Kusal. You get a national award, if PNM give you a PNM award, very good for you, you know. We don't care about your award, but we come in, I saw you dropping materials there at different times while my daughter was playing tennis by Tranquility Court. It's a good Mako. So we come in to find out about you. Somebody missing, boy. Calco, boy. Calco, you are in receipt of government contract just like Kusal. I saw you, your company trucks, dropping various materials and cement and so on to Balize House. We are coming to see how much you drop, what price, how many man hours, what was the value, what check they pay you with. Did Balize House PNM pay you? Was it signed by the General Council, by the Treasurer of the PNM? How they paid for that? Well, the air condition we know is with Sukai and Sukai. But here the next thing. The PNM, when they enter that Balize House, they get a notebook, a secret notebook, on how to thief the PNM way. And when you see Niquan, and you're hearing Niquan Ainsley Gill, the PNM favored boy, but now they're trying to ditch he. They're leaving he alone because Niquan finally sink. It started at the World GTL in 2005, but right now, Niquan gone through, car produce nothing, car pay its bills, owing more than 346 million US, plus they have to pay a former PNM independent senator $21 million for firing he and they paying him. They still owing workers 6 months salary. They ain't selling nothing. They can't pay back the loan, and Republic Bank, I'm telling you, to the shareholders of Republic Bank, all you have to ask the board of directors, the CEO and the directors of Republic Bank, one, how did Niquan qualify? Niquan or Niquan, however all I want to pronounce it, don't blame the douglAR. I'm not Japanese, okay? How did Niquan qualify for 120 million US loan from Republic Bank? You see, you citizens are shareholders in Republic Bank also. And you customers of Republic Bank, when Republic Bank lose like that, they have to make back the money somehow. How you feel they're going to make it back? Oh you mean increase charges and fees for you? Okay. I don't know. You have to ask them. Like all your bank. So how did it, what was the collateral used for $120 million loan? So now that Carrie Chris has downgraded Niquan down to Do Invest and going worse in December again. And Ainsley Gill, the PNM, lost all the PNM friends. So he on his own, with no money, with nothing to sell, with a plan that nearly blew up twice. And no more gas, because your government gas, your gas was given to them by Franklin Can and the PNM. Republic Bank, are you going to answer these questions? Run the video from the press conference today. So what's Niquan?
Final question to Senator Roberts about Niquan. Keith Rowley appeared to dismiss the Niquan issue by referring to the Peter Touchdown Magador. What is your view on that response by him?
What is my view? The rats are running from the ship in droves. Keith Rowley created the ship. Keith Rowley's government took Malcolm Jones out of court. The Privy Council ridiculed Trinidad and Tobago and the PNM government for their actions. Keith Rowley and his Attorney General got a paragraph advice from Vincent Nelson, who they were also negotiating an indemnity with to try and frame two UNC former ministers and senators. Keith Christopher Rowley's government gave Niquan the assets of worth 400 million US for 35 million, 10 million cash and 25 million preference shares. Ainsley Gill is a PNM. Alison due diligence is a PNM. David Small is an independent senator. I say with a smile. Rowley's decision, Rowley's government gave Niquan minister's share of gas. Alison due diligence, who is Rowley's PNM chairman of the Port Authority, was on Republic Bank board, and somehow Niquan got 120 million US loan that I am baffled how they qualified for even a dollar loan. So Republic Bank, you have to answer. Rowley's government is the one that gave them gas. Rowley's government is the one that gave them the asset. Rowley's the one who utilized Malcolm Jones and took him and put him on as the head of his energy advisory committee that has advised the collapse and decimation of the energy sector by Stuart Young and Keith Christopher Rowley. So all Rowley could do is sing Peter Tosh. Rowley could play golf in ugly clothes. He could kick his ball in the golf course in Mount Irving in the Prime Minister's charity golf tournament and people see him kick it. He could cross the road and Gary Griffith could boot him because people dying and he playing golf. He could fly in a tracksuit and he could talk nonsense. But it is Keith Rowley and the PNM that have lost over $5 billion of taxpayers' money on this World GTL into Niquan fiasco. Carrie Chris lowers Niquan's ratings. Caribbean Information and Credit Rating Services Limited, Carrie Chris, has lowered the assigned credit ratings of Niquan Energy Trinidad Limited to Carib B on the regional rating scale and TTB on the Trinidad and Tobago national scale, as well as JMB on the Jamaica national scale. In a release on Tuesday, Carrie Chris said the ratings indicate weak creditworthiness of Niquan are judged in relation to other obligors in the Caribbean. It added, the lowering of the assigned rating reflects Niquan's inability to attain full commercial operations at the nameplate capacity by September 30th, and that they would revisit the rating to go down even lower by December. Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley says the increased ownership in Atlantic LNG is a legacy of greatness that he has done. Now, simple mathematics for primary school students. There were 4 chains. You had a certain percentage, 10%, of train 1 and train 4. There are now 3 trains. Train 1 is useless, is mothballed, is shut down, it's wasted. $233 million of your taxpayers' money wasted by Stuart Smallpin Young and Keith Christopher Rowley and the board of NGC, who was seeking an indemnity. And that was just for 2 years. Since then, a year and a half has passed, so it is quite possible to extrapolate, based on Rowley's statement, that another $117 million has gone down the drain by trying to maintain Atlantic Train 1. So you had 4 trains, you're down to 3 trains, and Rowley says that he has done a great thing for Trinidad and Tobago because he negotiated with the owners of the trains, Atlantic LNG, BP, Shell, and the Chinese consortium, that he got a 10% or a 6% in train 2 and 3 that we didn't have before. When people are fleeing, people are not investing. When we have no gas, we have flat gas projected for 2028, which means that we are using more than we are finding and accessing. No companies are taking up the opportunity to spend money for exploration because of these 2 idiots. They are now boasting that they have a higher percentage of a failing ship. So them have a higher percentage of the Titanic. That is these two clowns. And this man say that that is his legacy. Prime Minister said the successful restructuring of Atlantic and so on, renegotiation of gas. Oh, Rowley now claims that the renegotiation of gas supply contracts is his greatest achievement. Now, when a man sucks, he really sucks. When a man hit rock bottom. But Rowley, ain't you say that you didn't negotiate? Rowley, make up your mind, boy. You say one of your greatest legacies is negotiating with the upstreamers, the EOGs and the BP and so on. But you didn't just, I feel I lie. Because a man can't be so dishonest. A man can't be so pathological. So I feel it's because I don't like Rowley, because I think Rowley is a scumbucket, and any man who own any wife at 72 years old without a condom and making twins, I don't have time for he. So I must be biased. So let me cool myself. Because to me, Rowley had say he didn't negotiate no price, but now he's saying which one it is. Run it, let me check.
The last time when we were looking at the energy sector, there was a stalemate with the NGC negotiations, which you continue to look at the contracts and in terms of getting the best value for the country. You took a trip to Houston, you broke that point. At that point, you broke the stalemate that existed. There are about 5 more contracts still outstanding. Will you be involved in these negotiations?
Well, no, I don't expect to be. As I was coming down here, I saw a whole page advertisement in the newspapers by the opposition, which is hell-bent on misleading this country. About me negotiating gas contract. What had happened is that the two parties, NGC negotiates gas contracts for this country, the National Gas Company, and in that company you have the experts who do it and their advisors. I do not get involved in the actual price of a negotiation, or that's not my job.
As the Prime Minister has said on countless occasions, as I have said on countless occasions, as the Minister of Energy has said on countless occasions prior to today, the Prime Minister did not engage in negotiations of gas prices. He did not engage in those discussions in Houston in 2017.
When I went to Houston 2 or 3 months ago with Minister Young on a mission to meet BP, Shell, EOG, and also Exxon, because Exxon is not producing here, but the other 3. BP, our major supplier, Shell, the new big player that bought out BG, and EOG, our second largest gas producer. I went to Houston and concluded the negotiations that had been going on. And we agreed on a gas price across the board.
So in 2017, Rowley says, I negotiated the gas price. I went to Houston with my small pen and I concluded the negotiation and got to a gas price. Then in 2019 with Hamar Ramkisoon, who looks a lot different now, he said, no, what nonsense UNC saying, I did not negotiate no gas, because what had happened was the collapse of the energy sector. The upstreamers, after negotiating with 2 buffoons, you see, when you get 2 boboli to negotiate with, when smart men find dodo heads, they just out-negotiate them. So these 2 dodo heads were out-negotiated. And the upstreamers, they have to report their profits because they are publicly traded companies. Their profits after their negotiation, Rowley and small pen negotiation kicked in, went up 67%. If they go up 67% in a zero-sum game, it means the other person went down 67%. You know who the other people is? We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, who were dotish enough to elect these idiots to represent us. But now, flash forward to 2023, Rowley says, the Prime Minister said the successful restructuring of Atlantic LNG and the renegotiation of natural gas supply arrangement with upstream producers has greatly benefited TNT. He hinted that those two decisions could be part of his legacy as Prime Minister. He said that is one of the most significant decisions we have been able to accomplish. Rowley identified government success in renegotiating natural gas supply arrangements and with upstream producers was another significant decision. He reminded the media, Rowley reminded the media, this came about when he and Energy Minister Stuart Young, now it is so stupid, in 2017, Stuart Young was not the Energy Minister. Franklin Cann was the Energy Minister. But Rowley left Franklin Cann home and took his small pin with him. He's so pathological. When you lie so much, you can't remember things, you know. You see how I don't remember things? Because me and lying on them. This man, Stuart Young in 2017, was not the Minister of Energy. Rowley says, he reminded the media, this came about when he and Energy Minister Stuart Young visited these multinational companies at their headquarters overseas and negotiated directly with their top executives. Rowley said that he and Small Pin negotiated directly with the top executives. Actually, just play back that video again now. Listen to this pathological liar that some of y'all vote for. What you go tell your children? Run it.
The last time when we were looking at the energy sector, that there was a stalemate with the NGC negotiations, which you continue to look at the contracts and in terms of getting the best value for the country. You took a trip to Houston, you broke that point. At that point, you broke the stalemate that existed. There are about 5 more contracts still outstanding. Will you be involved in these negotiations?
Well, no, I don't expect to be. As I was coming down here, I saw a whole page advertisement in the newspapers by the opposition, which is hell-bent on misleading this country, about me negotiating gas contract. What had happened is that the two parties, NGC negotiates gas contracts for this country, the National Gas Company. And in that company, you have the experts who do it and their advisors. I do not get involved in the actual price of a negotiation or that's not my job.
As the Prime Minister has said on countless occasions, as I have said on countless occasions, as the Minister of Energy has said on countless occasions prior to today, the Prime Minister did not engage in negotiations of gas prices. He did not engage in those discussions in Houston in 2017.
When I went to Houston 2 or 3 months ago with Minister Young on a mission to meet BP, Shell, EOG, and also Exxon, because Exxon is not producing here, but the other 3. BP, our major supplier, Shell, the new big player that bought out BG, and EOG, our second largest gas producer. I went to Houston and concluded the negotiations that had been going on. And we agreed on a gas price across the board.
And you see what happened between 2017 and 2019? His negotiation, their negotiation kicked in. And then there was a shutdown of productivity at Point Lisas because the price that NGC was offering to the downstreamers was not profitable because of the silly, ridiculous price negotiated by these two non-experts, giving the upstreamers huge profits, but making sure that NGC would make a loss. And 11 companies at Point Lisas shut down because of the negotiation done by Rowley and Small Pin. So Rowley comes out in 2019 when the feces hitting the fan and said, no, not me. I didn't negotiate anything. Well, here Rowley now in 2023, when he figure, all you forget how dotish he really is. Rowley said he reminded the media that this came about when he and Energy Minister Stuart Young visited these multinational companies at their headquarters overseas and negotiated directly with their top executives. And he balling, that's his legacy. That is your legacy. The shutting down of Petrotrin and the refinery, moving Trinidad and Tobago out of the refinery business, shutting down Point Lisas, poor negotiations, no bid rounds, low gas production. The future of oil and gas is bleak. Indebtedness, Niquan, World GTL, absolute shutdown of steel industry, now desalinated water not being profitable to be has to go onto the grid. You have a legacy of stupidity, Rowley. As we say that, foreign exchange faux pas. Senator Damian Lyder was brilliant when he brought it up in the Senate and today at the press conference, where he showed that the PNM does not pay its bills and then tries to say, well, the deficits we have on budgets are lower than what we expected, but they're still owing $8 billion in VAT. And then Colmimbert comes up with this great idea to transfer the indebtedness from that of the businesses to the banks at a certain 3-point-something% interest rate, and he pays it with bonds. But Senator Lyder found out, analyzed, and correctly came to you and said, this is putting more pressure on the scarce foreign exchange reserves, because by giving all the oil and gas companies, of which 2.1 billion of the 3 billion in bonds went to, giving them a whole tanker of TT dollars, means that they have no need to change their US into TT, which means that the supply of US dollars is further thwarted in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's why you people cannot get US. That's why you have to go out on the black market and buy US at $7.50 and $8. That's why if you want to go on holiday, they're only giving you $100 or $200. That is because of PNM mismanagement, and you have to suffer. So thank you, Senator Lyder. And well, boy, Tim Gopi Singh, I wasn't feeling so well, and Tim Gopi Singh replaced me in the Senate. And here now, Tim was a cricketer, he was a fast bowler. But like he went out to bat at number 10, and he hit Colmimbert for 6. Run it.
Member raise a point of order.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Perhaps I didn't make myself clear previously. We are debating the Appropriation Bill 2023 for the service of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago for the fiscal year 2024. That, in my opinion, is 46.1 irrelevant.
Continue.
I'm always guided by the chair, Honorable President. I'm guided. But he's so short I didn't even see when he stood up.
Have a seat, have a seat, have a seat.
Emery Brown, how you watching Colm so loving? You don't even watch your wife so. What you have with Colm? I now notice that. But Emery Brown don't ever watch me so, brother. How you watching Colm so excited? He impress you? Emery? 28,000 new workers added to the labor force in second quarter in 2023, says Colmimbert. Let me tell you all something. The PNM has a knack for destroying and decimating something and then showing a little increase and patting themselves on the back and saying, well done. 123,000 people have come off the NIS rolls who were paying NIS. That means they lost jobs. Across Trinidad and Tobago, you can see the joblessness. They have 10,000 children applying for prison officer work. They're offering work on Carnival and them cruise liner. And over 3,000 young people running with a resume and envelope to try and get a work. A company come and say, hey, they might have opportunity for work in Guyana, and over 2,000 children, young people run down with their resume looking for work. But Colmimbert come to tell you, the CSO says that 28,000 new jobs were created in the first quarter and so on. Well, if 200,000 jobs were lost and 28,000 jobs were created, you're still 182,000 jobs short. Well, short is your forte. But they come to talk about the CSO, and big man in the Senate, Dr. Mohammed and thing, come to tell us real-time information we getting from the CSO. World standard, 6 months. So the data we getting now is 6 months late, and them calling it real time. In the States, in the Europe and so on, you're getting job figures day by day. You're getting inflation figures day by day. You're getting statistics day by day. The PNM talk about a National Statistical Office since their 2016 budget. And each year after that, they give up that now and telling we that the CSO that we know is talking nonsense. They don't even know how to collect the data from this country. Talking about unemployment at 3.7%. Anybody who did a basic economics at A level would know 3.7% is full employment level of unemployment. We are not there. We have people with degrees, 2 degree, 3 degree, who cannot get work. Who's selling doubles, who's selling roti, who's selling craft, who's selling fruit, who planting a garden to try and make a hustle because they cannot get jobs. As well as we are suffering from brain drain. Anybody with the opportunity to go outside has gone, is going, and are staying. But this PNM come and tell you everything is okay. It's okay with them. The few of them who are contract. The few of them who getting contract and donating things to Balisay House. The few of them who give air condition to Balisay House and get to sit down in the Senate and read the honorable legitimized. That's how they get in there. No merit. All of the bright children can't go in the Senate. You ought to be able to donate air condition. And just to make sure, check job losses 2015 to 2023. Look at it, 2015. You see how high that was there? That persons with job. That camera. You see up at the top there? Up by 625. That high thing, that plenty work. Watch PNM 2016 coming down. 2017 coming down. Between 2017 and 2018, they went up a little bit, but as you could see, they're way below camera. So the PNM call would say, hey boy, I do real good day. Because we lost 60,000, but we gained back 10,000. We still 50,000 short, but great is the PNM. Then watch it coming down. 2019, 2020. Look at 2021. Look at 2020, before COVID. Then COVID hit and disaster. And now, from that low ebb, look, it went up a little oomph to 576. But look where it was with Kamala, 625. And Colm Imbot and the PNM ponging desk. And Amory Brown looking lovingly at Colm Imbot from behind. And that is the PNM. Y'all really voting for that? We can't be, we have to be a smarter population than that. TSTT, when you're talking about jobs, TSTT retrenched 750 workers quite in 2018, 2019. The only man get a work in TSTT is Kamal Georges because he put on a work on somebody. So he get a work. What is your job, Kamal Georges? How you got it? What is your qualification? Who gave you the work? Who applied for the work? Where the work was created? Where was it advertised? Show me, I keep asking you. You're telling man, but you want to sue me? Boy, sue me, boy. Because where I have question for you and Lisa Agard, just like Rowley, you feel like Fred Court, I come out the womb of a lawyer. I was put in the womb by a lawyer. The 2 boys who share the womb with me is lawyer. My sister is a lawyer. My son that come out of me and went in, so he is a lawyer. You feel like Fred Court? Kamal Georges? What work you doing? What is your pay package? Who created the job? Who did the job interview? Who were the other people who competed against you? How did you beat them? Where you study? You like saltfish? That way you go say? So this clown get a job and 760 citizens with family and children to put to school because he's a sweet boy? Or you cannot be serious? Run the video.
Good day to all and the general public of Trinidad and Tobago. I am Joel Latif, a former employee of TSTT, a retrenched employee, who was sent home in the year 2018. Up to this day presently, the company is owing myself and other workers who were retrenched in 2018 monies in recalculated severance and back pays on salaries that are due to us immediately. We exited the company, it is now 25 years since we left, and the company has refused to give us our monies in full.
But Kamal Georges get a big work with a big package. And Rowley come and tell all you, Kamala give all you 14% and the back pay back in 2015, 2016. He say if he pay all your back pay, it will mash up all you and it would, you all could lose your jobs and so on, and back pay was the devil and Kamala was wrong and corrupt for giving people the money that they would work hard for. Then Rowley come this year, 7 years later and say, hey, but $1 billion are put aside there, all you're getting it for Christmas. Well, no back pay for all you for Christmas because Colminbert and Rowley feel a government runs in their minds and their mouth, not understanding that there are processes, that in order to get things done, there are accounting officers and there are processes that need to be followed, that you need to get the allocation. The ministries, each ministry needs to do the paperwork, needs to calculate the 4% for those who accepted it and go back for the number of years, 8 years, and calculate the increments coming up and see how much each person gets at each category of each public service. And then when you do that, they have to then apply to the Ministry of Finance for a tranche, and then they have to get releases from the Ministry of Finance. Then in order to do a check at a ministry, you have 3 people. You have 1 person to verify the amount, 1 person to type out the check, and 1 person to verify the amount on the check and carry it by the permanent secretary to sign. This is a long, tedious process. The PNM come and just talking thing out of their mind. And now Rowley attacking public servants because no back pay for all you, because Rowley and them full are just old talk. Run it.
The highlight I know of this particular budget to many individuals is the so-called Christmas 2023 back pay. $1 billion will be allocated for the benefit of 37,000 public sector workers in Trinidad and Tobago whose bargaining units have already accepted the 4% increase in their back pay. Again, representing Tunapuna, I know there are many individuals, residents, constituents, burgesses of the Tunapuna constituency who will benefit tremendously from this Christmas back pay. The only thing I admonish you all to do is to spend it wisely come Christmas 2023. Spend your back pay wisely.
Immediately, at a cost of an additional $360 million per year. We are also exempting the one-off payment of $4,000 to retirees from tax, which forms part of this process. I am also giving today these 37,000 public sector workers an undertaking that all ministries and agencies involved will be provided with the necessary funds to pay this $1 billion in back pay by Christmas of 2023. By Christmas of 2023.
If observers don't come, it's my fault. And with her outer placeness, I must show her the letter that the Commonwealth.
Long that you all have as a prime minister. So all the people in Tunapuna, now that you ain't get your thing, vote out that man, he lie. And vote out Colm, he lie. And vote out Rowley for lying. And then Rowley now comes to attack the public servants. This is what he does. So he's a bully pulpit. He comes from the powerful position of the prime minister. He talk nonsense. Because everybody knows in cabinet, in government, the executive, there are processes that need to be followed. Including a cabinet note must be taken to cabinet, not read out in the parliament in a budget from the Ministry of Finance, allocating that $1 billion and showing where it's coming from and where it's going and get the approval of cabinet. Then it goes out to all the permanent secretaries at each ministry, and then the permanent secretaries tell their departments to do the accounting departments. If there are 600 employees, 400 employees, different levels of employees, go through each file and work it out carefully. This is not something that happens like that. It's not a parlor. You're not buying dinner mint. But these PNM are so sick. But here Rowley responds now. After having not done the correct thing, after not consulting with the permanent secretaries and the public service and saying, listen, we would like to do this. How you think, how long you think, what's the process, how we could speed it up, what you need. No discussion like that. But when they get a dose of reality, check Rowley, the bully now. Rowley, you know, I just tell you all kind of thing, boy. Rowley, I just tell you, you're old. You use horny goat weed. You kick your ball in the golf club. You're taking all them ministers and minister wife down in your office, past the tree dog, the parrot, and going on the red couch. I just tell you, you're a pathological liar. You're disgusting. You just horn your wife, your beautiful wife of so many years without prophylactic. I just tell you, Renaissance, you signed the outline approval to improve the asset base of your friend's son, John Rahal, with Joseph Rahal. I just tell you, Las Alturas is you and Noel Garcia. I see Noel Garcia coming out of Massey store with a big bag and I see your name on it. Why you don't bully me, boy? Why you don't come and tell me something? You're going to attack DPP. You're attacking judges. People who have the convention that they cannot respond to politics because their job and their requirements and the propriety and the decorum, they do not respond because you are a mama pool bully boy. You understand? I could respond. Politics is about response, about debate, about discussion. Why you don't tell me something, boy Rowley? You go now to attack a permanent secretary who cannot speak because propriety, decorum, convention, rules of the profession, apolitical, just doing the public service duties. They do not respond even when attacked. And you know that. So you are attacking someone who cannot fight back. And by any definition, that is a bully. You are a mama pool, Rowley. Here, Rowley. The public servant, he told reporters that an unnamed public servant had said it was not possible to back pay by Christmas, but rather next May. But somehow next May, Newsday that so love Rowley, them calculate Christmas IT is December. May is the 5th month. So I would say that 5 months, right? But if I was really saying it had to get the money before Christmas, so it could be 6 months. Newsday print 3 months delay. Newsday, your maths as good as Coleman, but. And Rowley said the Prime Minister began by berating certain uncooperative public servants by alleging when the PNM is in office, everyone is bad and defiant. Really? The PNM who in office, who have changed the system of promotion and put the DPA and put who they want at every juncture, and so much so that many of the PNM cabinet ministers historically, their wife and family is permanent secretary, and the PNM was in charge 30 unfettered years and never kept up to office for 2 consecutive terms. And Rowley come to tell you all that the opposition have more influence on the public sector than the PNM who has run it for over 49 out of 60 years. That's Rowley, this pathological liar called Keith Rowley. But he goes on, he says, while he admitted it was not the best, he now admitted the 4% was not the best. A permanent secretary is going to write the minister and say, that can't be done until next year. Well, they don't run this country. They never offer themselves for public service, and the cabinet will not tolerate that. He said, I just told a PS said no. So next year May might be how you get the money. And he goes on to attack. He said, so here's Rowley. But you see, Rowley, he's so transparent, so easy. He's not bright. He's not intelligent. You see, Patrick Manning could think on his feet. Basio Pandey, brilliant. Kamala Prasad says, top of the class, intelligent. This is the first dunce prime minister we've ever had. All you say George Chambers was dunce, he wasn't dunce. George Chambers had to deal with 30 years of PNM corruption and no money at all. George Chambers was extremely bright. This is the first dunce prime minister we've ever had. So here his playbook now. Remember, he wants total control. So he put his puppet in President House. He controlled the parliament with blue hair lady and the kangaroo who now gone so. The president of the Senate now is very fair and balanced. I don't know how he's a PNM, but that's for now. I don't know if he'll change, right? He wants his own commissioner of police. He wants to control the integrity commission. He wants to control the permanent secretaries. He wants to control every independent institution. He attacking the DPP and want to control and select attorneys to go in the DPP office through the office of the Attorney General. That's what this clown wants, this dictator, this Lekoto Jambi. So what does he want to do? He wants to set up a tribunal of PNM appointees who he or the president, two of them is PNM, will appoint to then select permanent secretaries. That's what he wants to do. He wants to do away with the service commissions. Anything that he cannot control, he wants to do away with it. So they come now and they create this thing. Them just come out here, they say, hey, $1 billion. Obviously he knew. I mean, he's not very bright, but he's not a total, complete blithering idiot. He's been in politics and a member of parliament for over 31 years. So he would know that it's impossible to just say in October $1 billion and by end of November you have it. That's impossible. Cannot happen. By the system that we have, the bureaucracy or the paperwork cannot be done. So he set it up, call it out, so he can attack the permanent secretaries now, create a narrative that the public service is against him, and then move forward with the help of independent PNM senators to thwart the service commissions and put some tribunal that he and the president will, his kangaroo, the gospel of the PNM, will appoint so that they could then totally control everything. Because the permanent secretaries are the accounting officers. That's the money. The thing he wants is to touch and control the money. He don't find he control it enough. Any dollar that he have total control over, it has hurt him in his heart. It has furrow his brow and bruise his nose hole. This one here who all you vote for. You ever hear me speak like that about Patrick Manning? I disagree with his policies. I find he didn't man it. Called a heart and Uttara Rao. I didn't believe in this tall building thing. I didn't think that he handled all of the TNTech issues with the man who was buying things from his own hardware and so on. That was what I thought on policy, on management style and so on, politics. I could argue with Patrick Manning. But you would never hear me say that Patrick Manning was a low character individual, that Patrick Manning was a scumbucket, that Patrick Manning wanted every dollar of your money to be spent under his control. This is the one who concocted a whole collapse of a sea bridge, approved crooked money, and crooked money running, but he approved it, and then continue to crash the sea bridge so he and Smallpin could go in Australia, meet with CEOs, and hand out contract for $1.5 billion without advertisement, without competition, without tender. Ministers procuring, that's what he wanted. Patrick Manning tell all of that, but they didn't listen. Now we had to feel it. And when he wastes out all your money, he come to say more tax for all you. And now he's outraged. Leave this clown here. He's outraged at $55 million for the rental and blaming the DPP. And again, the DPP convention cannot respond publicly to such attacks. It's not on, it's improper. It doesn't follow the convention, the independence of the office and so on. This fool knows that. So again now, he's bullying an office holder who cannot respond. You notice he don't tell me nothing, because as he open his stupid mouth, I will hit him back 20 points and I have plenty bullet waiting for he political bullet about who went down on the couch and all to come back at he. You understand? And how long they stay on the couch. And how some of them had to try 3 times because the horny goat weed wasn't working. So I waiting for this fool. That's why he don't tell me nothing. But he's bully. So he bullied the DPP. But the DPP did not sign any contract. The DPP did not lease any building. The DPP didn't look for a building. The DPP didn't advertise for a building. The DPP didn't do a cabinet note to agree. The DPP did not negotiate rent. The DPP didn't sign a lease. All of that was done by Rowley and his government. So he signed a lease, we negotiate a rent with a building that was not fit for purpose because he hurry come for money. Had they done it properly, you need a DPP building. Get the DPP in, the security forces, special branch, all of them, Ministry of National Security. Come on, what you all need, tell us. Go and look, find suitable building. But no, them after the recusal. Remember, he in a cabinet where there are over 219 recusals in 4 years. Over 500 recusals in 8 years. A recusal means that they're using your power position to benefit you, your family, your friends, and your business associates. That's who this is. Facts don't lie. And he coming out to feign outrage. 55 million gone. Yes, because of you. You clown. You and your cabinet, not the DPP. So the DPP can't talk. I go talk for the DPP. You and your Attorney General, you and your cabinet, you and your Minister of Finance, you and your executive, you wasted the 55 million. You continue to pay. You renew the lease. You paid 55 million for nothing. Don't blame no DPP. Rowley says something went radically wrong with that. Threats, theatrics, and tantrums, said The Guardian. United States President Theodore Roosevelt coined the phrase bully pulpit, by which he meant a conspicuous platform from which to speak out and attract attention when advocating an agenda. The post-cabinet press conference is a powerful platform to communicate issues deemed important to the nation at large. When a prime minister takes to the podium, one presumes that the message is important, well-crafted, and addresses the issues. Last Thursday, the Prime Minister breathed fire and brimstone, a proverbial dragon, as he railed against unnamed public servants, the Public Service Commission, and the Judicial Legal Services Commission. A trifecta of events appeared to have prompted his outburst. Was the Prime Minister's righteous indignation a cynical tactic to redirect public irritation away from the prospect of increased electricity tariffs and a poorly performing WASA to the weaknesses of an inefficient public service? The politics of distraction. This technique was successfully invoked to convert a skeptical public into supporting the closure of the refinery. Governments are elected to manage, make a difference, change and improve the way things are done. A public rant, a distraction, is not what the electorate expects, wants, or deserves. Where is the evidence of the government's commitment to the process of improvement? But this is from The Guardian. And The Guardian, you are now stating that Rowley lied, misled, shouted, ranted, and raved about Petrotrin, lied and did not present the factual matrix. But Guardian, you're a newspaper. So if the population believed his rant and rave, that's one thing. But Guardian, how come you believed it? How come you allowed it? How come you didn't put front pages, Rowley's lies, the debt burden of World GTL and Malcolm Jones is what is stifling Petrotrin. That the McKinsey report, the Solomon report, the Lashley report said restructure. That the board of Petrotrin did not tell this man to shut it down. Why you didn't print all of that? Since you are aware that it was just bluster, that he was using his bully pulpit. He could bully the people. The people don't have the power of a newspaper. But Guardian, you are happy because your shareholders will be benefiting from this pathological liar, benefiting in different ways to the tune of billions of dollars. So don't come and feign righteousness now, Guardian. You are the guardian of Rowley's K-Pax. He is here because you are there. Why did you not write on your front pages when this pathological liar on May 20th, 2013 went into the parliament and the things that were not emails? 29 of the 31 could not even go up in the cloud because there weren't enough caricatures, enough characters to even constitute an email. But you didn't come out on the front page and say, liar, pathological, miscreant, wrong, resign Rowley, shame. You didn't say that. You all started to put forward a concept, you and the other mass media, that even though there weren't emails, even though he lied, that you have to now investigate the contents of something which did not exist. So don't come here now and pretend, because you have allowed this monster to develop into an evil dictator. Because the media has a serious job to do. And Guardian, you hiring Asha Javid. Asha Javid is of this, because Asha Javid is of the small pin. This and small pin are one since email gate. Asha Javid has judgments in the Sibalak Singh, the former CEO of the EMBDC, against the Express, Asha Javid, Irene Medina, and others. A judgment saying that Asha Javid was dishonest, was unprofessional, was malicious and vindictive. A judge wrote that, and you, Guardian, go and hire Asha Javid as she finished lay down with small pin to be your editor of political investigative journalism. And you come now to pretend that you're now dealing with some sort of truth. In the words of Sprangalang, Guardian, rest me, eh? And let me tell you, Guardian, what you're upholding. Because the PNM and Rohan Sinanan of Kedona fame, Rohan Sinanan of Pamzanilla fame, Rohan Sinanan of 300 million with a roundabout to nowhere going up by Valencia into Toko up that way. Rohan Sinanan had the audacity to say, on a contract that was prepared, tendered, and awarded by the PNM, that is UNC corruption, and this one say, it's the greatest rape of the treasury. Me I know what he have with rape. Why he like that adjective? What he know about rape? If he's a rape expert. Me I know what Prime Minister would talk about rape so far. I don't know about teacher who would use his power to get pum-pum from a girl of school age if they call that rape. I don't know what affinity with the word rape this man have. But he say the Point 14 highway on the UNC was the greatest rape of the treasury. Well, if all you like rape, run it, Archie. Yeah, I mean the Senate, run it. When Rohan Sinanan dare to bring up the topic about corruption, watch it.
Address the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport, the biggest corruption, and his Honorable Prime Minister used a very vile term. He said it was a rape of the country. I mean, that's a Prime Minister. I don't even know what he would, why he likes to use that word or what he knows about that word. But let me ask the Honorable Minister of Works and Transport if he ever heard of something called the Brian Lara Stadium. That was budgeted at $175 million and ended up at 1.3 billion. That was, the entire complex was budgeted at $850 million under the PNM to include a cricket stadium, 3 AstroTurf, a 50-meter pool, gym, cafeteria, hotel. And now the stadium alone, the average cost per seat is $130,000 US per seat. Every citizen that go there to watch a CPL match should look under their seat and see if they get a diamond ring from that PNM. And they're talking about corruption. What about we still looking for the horse and them in Caroni Racing Complex? Where the horse and them? I want to put a bet. You talking about the greatest corruption? Caroni Racing Complex, over $200 million, when $1 million was $1 million. If you equate that to nowadays, like $1.6 billion, and not a horse run, a horse even canter. Bridgman's NGC Atlantic train won $233 million when everybody tell you don't spend no money, and you talking about corruption. Scarborough Hospital, the financial complex, fake oil, just so. A man say, listen, I was producing 200 barrels a day, now I gone up to 12,000 barrels a day. Ooh, they come and boast in the parliament. Well, if that was true with the fake oil, then their former senatorial colleague and Rowley's best friend should have been the Prime Minister, the Honorable Prime Minister's best friend, should have been given all the land acreage in Trinidad to drill for oil, since he was so good. Why didn't, if it was not fake, if it was high performance, I believe in merit. If a man and his company and his technology is so good to increase the production on an oil field by 600, 800%, I say give him all, because the people will benefit. And in the United National Congress, we are here about the people benefiting, not recusal, Not ministers renting out building, not friends and family and financiers getting 55 million because a building not fit for purpose and then blaming the DPP. Project Pride, $400 million. Where the Pride? The river he moved. It was to move a river to put an airport. They had no airport. The river bend and the 400 million disappear. But they're talking about corruption. PNM really.
Senator, you have 5 more minutes.
Good. I can't talk about PNM corruption in 5 minutes. BWIA, Lock Joint, Mount Pope, Tesoro, Mosquito Crack, Skinner Park, 131 million to move a FIFA football field down to a small sweat. Napa, Sapa, Shaw Park Complex, Rapid out of punch. I nearly get asthma with that. Rapid Rail. That Honorable Minister of Finance was the Minister of Works and Transport during that period, when somehow the Honorable Prime Minister and member for San Fernando East, Patrick Mervyn Augustus Manning, was put on a plane, a Bombardier jet, and just so the Express found out where he went, how they fly, what he ate, and so on. And then there was something called Trini Train that was below Bombardier, but the Prime Minister went on a Bombardier jet, and boom, Trini Train Consortium came up to win. Do you know that Trini Train Consortium, part thereof, was paid $481 million for a feasibility study to say, boy, what the train, if it go move, what speed it should move, where it should pass, how it will go, should it go up or should it go down? $481 million. And this PNM government has the audacity to talk about corruption. What about the 4 vessels that they purchased when the Minister of Finance was then Minister of Works and Transport that never sail a day? And they spent $65 million to try and fix it. They all tie up there and 4 of them sink, one holding up the next 3. And then Iowa want to buy it. He win a tender, then they say nothing for you, Iowa. That is the PNM. Central Block. They finished a beautiful building. I must say the building is beautiful. Around the Savannah, the administrative complex for people who manage the healthcare system. Now, you can't get a Panadol. You can't get your oncology drugs. You can't get dialysis. You're sleeping in the hallway. When rain fall in the hospital, orderly taking nurse on the back and pushing wheelchair. But PNM built a beautiful building. Now, it has no parking, but it's sweet. It's lovely. But when you look past it, you look about 600 meters so, and you look up, you see a shell that there UDCOT chairman said will be complete by February next year, but nothing in it, just some red steel that looks similar to the steel by Balize House, and they're talking about corruption.
And that is PNM. And when their corruption waste your money, they come and tax you. And then they tell you, don't study that. Vote on race. African for African and Indian for Indian. We don't have that. The douglAR say we don't have that. Vote on brain, not on race. Because when you vote so, and them doing what they want, 2 robbed while fishing by the Hyatt, you know. The Hyatt is our 5-star hotel, #1. People getting robbed 20 meters away from the Hyatt where tourists that spend their money and business people supposed to come. No arrest yet. But the cache of weapons found by mistake as Alexander and them trip in the bush, they trip on a T-Marie and fall down on AK-47 and thing, AR-15. No arrest yet though, but they hopeful. A deadly wake. No, that's a headline, you know. No pun intended, you know. Deadly wake. You're going to celebrate the life of somebody who dead and 3 people get killed while at a wake, eating cricks and drinking juice. 27 million police mobile scanners not in use, but man driving wrong in Tida, B13, Almira, Wetman thing with big gun, with machine gun and rifle this long. And the scanners that the police could utilize to say, hey, look, guns in that car, pull them over, pull them so. Because all the crimes, all the murders, they had to jump in car and drive down the road. This PNM, $27 million in police mobile scanners not in use. Law enforcement is no longer using mobile scanners, which were installed in 2 police vehicles at a cost of $27 million to operate. They have not been in use for over 18 months. UNC Senator Jayanti Latridayal raised the issue during a contribution to the budget debate in Parliament, saying that the $27 million had been spent on mobile scanners, which allowed police to see guns in vehicles traversing the highways, but they were not being used. He does only wake up to ride horse with little boys. And then this PNM, and let me tell Senator Sagram Singh Suklal something. If you're not able to handle Jayanti intellectually, then forget Jayanti and try to make your contribution, talk to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because your last few contributions, you have descended into the cesspit of stupidity, Senator Sagram Singh Suklal. And not only that, in your contribution, you are saying your daughter is sitting down watching her mother. And that is your behavior, Senator Sagram Singh Suklal? Like you didn't only ban your belly, you ban your brain. Watch this woman. And let me tell you something. Lady, control yourself, debate your bills and things, and control it to a level that somebody could listen to you. You're embarrassing yourself. Just because Jayanti brighter than you, you don't have to embarrass yourself. Listen to this one, run it.
To remember that our behavior must also be that which is parliamentary. One of the young ladies that is sitting in that chamber, Mr. President, is a 16-year-old young lady who happens to be my daughter. Your child probably 4 years, mine is 16, so she...
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Remember that our children are looking on.
10 seconds later.
And speak about her childhood memories in the office of the Attorney General. And speak about your mother and she growing up. Speak about your mother and she growing up.
Sometimes, when you do things to your organs that you're not supposed to do, there are deleterious impacts elsewhere. I feel something happening to your brain. So cool yourself, eh? You understand? Good night.